Welcome, everybody. We're just going to wait a couple more minutes before we get started. Welcome to the College of Business Orientation Major Advising Session. My name is Brandon McLeod. I am one of the academic advisors in the Undergraduate Business Advising Center. And I will be your host today, kind of guiding you through what you need to know about the business major. We'll give it just another minute or so for any other stragglers to make it in. What we'll be doing today is just kind of going over the basic things you'll need to know about the business major here at Sac State, our impaction status, classes that you'll be taking past this semester, when to apply to the business major, kind of general things you'll need to know, grade requirements, all of that fun stuff we'll be going over today. As we kind of talk through the presentation. We also, so just so you know, we'll spend about 45 to 50 minutes going through the PowerPoint presentation. If you have any questions all along the way, feel free to use the chat function. You can use the chat function to ask any questions that pop up. One of the other advisors, actually our coordinator, Maria, is also in the room. She will be monitoring the chat and answering any questions that you have. And if we have any parents or guests in the room as well, feel free to ask any questions that you may have. Just keep in mind that this is specifically for the business major. So, if you have questions about financial aid or housing or general education or stuff like that, you'll learn more about that later today, and your orientation leader will kind of help you out with that. But if you have any questions specific to the business major, we can definitely help you out. And then, at the end, I'll open it up for Q&A. So if you would like to unmute yourself at that point, you can go ahead and ask your question then. If you have a really pressing question that you want to ask verbally, that's okay. Just use the raise hand feature at any time during the presentation. I can see that. It's in the reactions tab at the bottom. And go ahead and raise your hand and I can call on you if you do have any questions along the way. All right, so it is 10:05, so let's go ahead and get started. These are basically the four things that we want you to know by the time this session is over today. So what the OSE is, and that stands for Office of Student Engagement. We'll get into that in just a minute. What it is and how it serves you, important academic policies for business majors, when to apply to the business major, and then just kind of general course requirements for business majors. The next thing that you'll want to have, and Maria will go ahead and post this in the chat, this is our new student guidebook. Normally, we would give this to you at the actual physical orientation. You would get a booklet. It's about 36 pages, nice and colorful booklet that you'd be able to keep for your whole time here at Sac State. Unfortunately, we're still virtual for orientation, so we're going to link the PDF in the chat. So if everyone can go ahead and download this, keep it on either in your browser or as a PDF on your desktop. We will be referring to this throughout the presentation. And in general, it's just a good thing to have because it goes over all of our requirements, all of our classes, all of our concentrations, all of the extra things that we offer in the Office of Student Engagement. There's just a lot of stuff in this guidebook that should last you most of your time here at Sac State. So definitely have that handy. So just the first couple of slides here are just kind of general overview information. Just kind of want to explain our structure of how our college works. We have obviously a dean of the entire business college. Then we have an associate dean, Dr. J.D. Balakrishnan. And then the most important thing on this slide is to know that we have 6 department chairs. So we have a different department chair that's in charge of each concentration. Some department chairs have more than one concentration that they're in charge of, and some department chairs just have one concentration. So there's 6 different department chairs, depending on the concentration that you're interested in, and depending on the concentration that you choose when you apply to the business major, you'll be kind of basically under a department chair's purview. Department chairs kind of manage their faculty, they create the schedule for their classes, and you can generally think of them as the head faculty within their area. So you don't necessarily need to worry about that right now, but as you get later on into the business major, your junior and your senior year, might be a good idea to acquaint yourself with who your department chair is in case something comes up. You have an issue with the faculty, you have a question about the department, you have a question about class availability. All of that stuff will come down to the department chair. And like I said, there's six of them for all of our different concentrations. So we have 10 concentrations. I mentioned before the OSE, that's the Office of Student Engagement. We are the kind of a unique office within the College of Business. Most other colleges don't have something like this. We basically do what I like to say is kind of outside of the classroom activities. So there's 7 staff members right now in the College of Business. Once again, I'm Brandon. Maria, our coordinator, is here. We have 2 other advisors, Jamie and Stephanie, and then we have 3 other members, including our director, that also work in the OSE. So as we repopulate campus, you will be meeting with us and seeing us in our office. But back to what the OSE does. This is just kind of a general overview and some examples of things that we do in the Office of Student Engagement. Like I said, we kind of do outside of the classroom activities. We're not professors. We don't have professors that work in our office. We don't teach classes, but we do a lot of other stuff. We run all of the business student clubs, honor societies, any organization that has to do with the College of Business. We also have an internship and job board. Definitely something to think about, especially internships, as you get closer to getting into the business major, as you kind of get into your junior and your senior year. That's really when you would want to strongly think about getting an internship. And we have a bunch posted on our job board, internship and job board. We give away scholarships and awards to our business students. Once again, a lot of the scholarships will require you to be in the business major. So we're looking at juniors and senior year here at Sac State, or your 3rd and 4th year. But just kind of keep scholarships on your radar as you go through. We give out a lot of money, over $100,000 every year in free money to students. And we have a lot of different scholarships for a lot of different areas. So even though you may not be eligible for scholarships right now, being a first-time freshman, as you kind of advance on through the program and get closer towards your junior and senior year, you will start to become eligible for lots of scholarships. We offer free peer tutoring for a lot of our business courses. Most of our lower division business courses, we have free tutoring, and our tutors work during the semesters. Unfortunately, we don't have tutoring in the summer, but starting the 3rd week of each semester, we have free tutoring. And like I said, for most of our lower division classes and also a lot of our upper division courses, we have free tutoring. So no appointment needed. You can just drop in for tutoring, and they will be able to help you out, with any questions that you might have about your business courses. So for example, if you're taking Accounting 1 this semester and you feel like you're struggling in it, or you're just not getting everything in the class times, definitely check out our tutoring. There's tutors there that are ready and willing to help you. And then we basically just do a lot of different events throughout the semester. We give away a lot of free food. We do Biz Fest. We have CPA days for those students that are interested in accounting. There are a lot of different things that we do event-wise throughout each semester. So I'll talk a little bit later about how to kind of keep in contact with us. You can follow us on Instagram. You can sign up for BizList, which is a listserv. We'll get to that in a little bit, but you'll definitely want to at least sign up for one of those or follow us on Instagram so you get all this information about our upcoming events. All right, so I had mentioned when I introduced myself that I'm one of the advisors in the Undergraduate Business Advising Center. So you've got the Office of Student Engagement, and then within the Office of Student Engagement, we have the Undergraduate Business Advising Center. So myself, Maria, Jamie, and Stephanie are all advisors. That's our main job. We are here to be a resource for you and help you pick your classes and help you navigate and graduate on time. So we try to take a one-stop approach in our Undergraduate Business Advising Center. We do drop-in advising. We do appointments for more long-term planning. We have a first-year focus and second-year success program. which I'll go into in just a minute. The first year focus, every student who starts off as expressed interest in business. If you applied to Sac State as a business major, you're automatically put into the first year focus program. And I'll explain what that is in just a minute. We do advising on our Impaction status. We do a little bit of GE advising. We do your graduation applications. So the 4 advisors were staff advisors. So we help you, like I said, pick your classes and kind of plan your track through the university. But we also have faculty advisors. So each concentration has a dedicated faculty advisor that is chosen each semester to kind of represent that concentration. And faculty advisors are going to be there to help you with kind of more nuanced questions or more career-related questions. So if you have questions about like, what is the marketing concentration like, or what kind of jobs can I get in marketing, or even questions like, I want to become a CFP, a certified financial planner. How do I do that? How does that relate to what I'm studying? What kind of licensure or exam will I need to take? Those kind of things are what our faculty advisors would advise on. So if you come to us and we plan out all your classes, but then you still have other lingering questions that are more kind of career related, we'll most likely refer you to a faculty advisor. They're experts in their field and they can answer any questions about their specific areas of business. I had mentioned this, maybe I didn't actually, but so I may have mentioned at the beginning that all the students in the room are expressed interest. And what that means is the College of Business and the business major at Sac State is one of about 7 or 8 majors that are impacted at Sac State. So because we're an impacted major, you can't be a business major until you've met certain criteria. So all students in the room right now are what's considered expressed interest in business. Or I should say, if you applied to Sac State as a business major, you are now currently expressed interest. Expressed interest is undeclared. It's not a real major. It's just a designation in the system that says, I plan on becoming a business major at some point in the near future. But for all intents and purposes, it's just undeclared. There's no actual major that is associated with expressed interest. You can't graduate with an expressed interest major. So that's something to keep in mind as you go through, knowing you'll be expressed interest your freshman year and your sophomore year. And then at some point during the end of your sophomore year or the beginning of your junior year, you'll be applying to the business major. We'll be going over that in just a little bit. So one other thing to keep in mind about expressed interest is if you're not making progress towards the business major, maybe you're taking other classes, maybe your grades aren't high enough. If you reach 60 units, which is junior standing, and you're not making progress towards the business major, and you're still expressed interest, you will receive a registration hold from us, and we will ask you to change your major to something else before we can remove the hold. By the time you hit 60 units, if you're not in good shape for getting into the business major, you'll really need to think about switching to a different major. But the good news is everyone in this room is basically kind of starting off fresh. So you are starting with a kind of a clean slate, and your grades are kind of what you make them from here on out. And we'll go over kind of a little bit later on what kind of target GPA you'll want to be shooting for, and kind of what you'll need to be competitive for the business major. So I mentioned before, we have a first year focus and a second year success program. The first year focus is what you will be a part of for your first year here at Sac State. And then the second year success is going to be your second year here at Sac State, assuming you still are interested in business and you're still expressed interest in business. One of our advisors, she's not here, she's off today, but you'll definitely be hearing from her very soon. Stephanie Serrato Newman is one of our academic advisors, and her email address is on the screen. You may want to take a screenshot of that or take a picture of it with your phone. She, for all intents and purposes, will be your advisor for your major for the next 2 years. She is in charge of our first year focus and second year success programs. She primarily 99% advises new students, meaning freshmen and sophomores. and she will be your main advisor for your major from here on out until you get into the business major. So what is the first year focus program? You might be wondering. It's kind of a targeted program. We're basically just here, and Stephanie's here to help you kind of acclimate to the university, know what you're taking class-wise. We want to make sure you're making progress towards getting into the business major. So there's a lot of different things that come with that. We're hoping to hire a student peer mentor as well that will be working with Stephanie. This student most likely will be a junior or a senior already in the business major. They would have already gone through the application process and taken all the lower division courses. So they'll be advising you as well. And then one thing to keep in mind with the first year focus program, you'll be getting the BSEE survey. That's the last bullet point there on the screen, BCSEE. That's going to be emailed to you about 2 weeks before the semester begins. So probably like mid-August. Make sure and complete that survey because it's really important data for us. It's just going to be asking you questions about what are your expectations for your first year here at Sac State? What are your expectations on resources? How are you going to do grade-wise? All that kind of stuff is in the BSEE survey. So be on the lookout for that from Stephanie, probably in mid-August. But basically, Stephanie and whoever we hire for our peer mentor that will be helping her, she'll be your advisor. She'll be available for drop-ins and also appointments. Just keep in mind that she's going to be your major advisor. She can do GE advising, but you're also going to have a separate thing that you'll learn about later today that you will have advising from other departments. If you're an athlete, you'll have mandatory advising in the athletic advising center. If you're EOP, you'll have mandatory advising with your EOP advisor. So you're going to have a lot of different advisors kind of competing for your time. But just know that Stephanie will be your major advisor, at least for the first 2 years here at Sac State. So I'll just kind of touch briefly on the second year success since that's a year away for you. This is where we start to get a little bit more serious about what are your grades, what classes have you taken, are you really on track for the business major? By the time you've hit your second year, you're probably at least at 30 units, you're a sophomore, you're kind of gaining more ground, you're getting closer to applying to the major. We'll do a little bit more career exploration and development, more referrals to campus services and resources. And basically, we'll just want to make sure that you're on track. This is the time where if you're not doing very well, grade-wise, or you're not making progress towards the major, this is when we may kind of intervene and say, hey, you may want to think about choosing a different major so you can kind of get on a different track and still be on time for graduation. But once again, this is at least a year off. Like I said, you're all starting fresh. And the first year focus program will be kind of the main thing that you'll be experiencing with our office for your first year. All right, so that's it for the FYF and SYS programs. The next thing is the outline of the business major. So this is where we'll talk about the specific classes that you'll need to be taking over the next year to 2 years, or over the next 2 years. The way the major split up is it's lower division and upper division. You're primarily going to be focused on lower division over the next couple of years, but you will start your upper division courses usually at the end of your sophomore year or at the very beginning of your junior year. We'll primarily be focusing on the lower division courses today. And so you can find these on page 8 of the new student guidebook that we linked earlier in the chat. There are 8 courses that you have to do in order to be eligible to apply to the business major. So every single class on this list needs to be done in order to apply to the business major. In general, what we recommend is trying to finish these by the end of your 3rd or your 4th semester here at Sac State. You really don't want it to go past your 4th semester because that's going to affect your time to apply to the major, which then could affect your time to graduation and your course availability. So once again, these 8 courses you really want to try to have done by the end of your 4th semester here at Sac State. So what are these classes that you have? You may notice that you are already enrolled in your classes, and you probably are enrolled in at least a couple of these. We've got Accounting 1, which is financial accounting or accounting fundamentals. This is kind of your basic intro to accounting. We've got Accounting 2, which is managerial accounting. Accounting 2 does require Accounting 1 to be done. So no one will really be enrolled in Accounting 2 this semester. But if you're taking Accounting 1 this coming semester, you would be eligible to take Accounting 2 in the spring semester. We've got macro and microeconomics. We've got business law, which is management 10. We've got MIS 10, which is our Microsoft Excel or spreadsheets class. All of the classes up here are 3 units except for MIS 10, that's 2 units. And then we've got our 2 math classes, Math 24 and Stat 1. Any class that has an asterisk next to it, so either Econ 1A, 1B or Math 24 Stat 1, you could potentially have an AP score of 3 or higher and test out of it. So if you took AP Macro, Micro, AP Calculus for Math 24 or AP Stats in high school, and you took the test and you got a score of 3 or higher, you are exempt from the corresponding course. So if you have an AP score a 3 or higher in any one of those 4 classes in high school, you don't have to take the corresponding class. With the Hornet Launch program, you're already pre-enrolled in your classes. The only issue is AP scores weren't in by the time the students were enrolled. So if you see yourself enrolled in the class that you have an AP score of 3 or higher for, let your orientation leader know and they can help you switch out to another class. And then, if you're interested, you don't have to keep your schedule as is right now. So if you would like to switch your schedule around, you are more than welcome to. Your orientation leader can help you out with that. We do have a lot of seats in Management 10, which is business law. So if you're looking to add another business course, or if you want to swap something out for Management 10, it's wide open. So if you're looking to add another business course to kind of get ahead a little bit, you can definitely consider adding Management 10. It's pretty much wide open. All right, so once again, these are the 8 classes. One other thing I wanted to mention, you'll notice for the math and the stats, if you don't have any previous AP scores in math or anything like that, you'll have to take the ALEKS placement test. Your orientation leader will most likely go over this a little bit more throughout the day, and your EOP, if you're EOP or an athlete, your advisor will talk to you about this as well. But if you want to enroll in Math 24 or Stat 1, either for this semester or starting in the spring for sure, you will need to have an ALEKS placement test score of 51 or higher. So the ALEKS is a placement test. It's run through the math department. You can just Google Sac State ALEKS and it will bring you to their website where you can get more information. There's practice tests, there's study guides, all that fun stuff. But you will need that score before you can enroll in Math 24 or Stat 1. Once you've taken the ALEKS and you passed it, you don't have to worry about it again. It's good for at least a year or 2, I think 2 years. So you wouldn't have to redo it once you passed. All right, so let's move on to some of our policies. So these are just 3 of our policies. We have a lot more, obviously, but these are kind of the 3 most important ones. You can always refer to page 29 in your new student guidebook, and we'll have more information, and it goes into more detail about the specific academic policies. So minimum grade requirements, this one's pretty easy. For all of our business courses, you need a C- or better for it to be considered passing. Unfortunately, we don't take any D grades, and we definitely don't take any F grades. The only exception to this is Math 24. That is, you do need a C or better in order for Math 24 to be counted. So Math 24 is a C or better. Every other business course is a C- or better. So that one's pretty easy. The next one is our course repeat policy. So for any business course, either lower division or upper division, you must pass it by your 3rd attempt. So if you find yourself in a situation where you haven't passed a required course 2 times, so you have 2 attempts without a passing grade, without a C- or better, you're now going to be on your 3rd attempt. You have to pass the course by your 3rd attempt. If you don't, you have to unfortunately be removed from the business major or even removed from expressed interest business. You would be dropped from any upper division business courses that you may be enrolled in, and you would have to change your major to something else. So this one's a pretty serious one. There's no appeal for it. if you find yourself in a situation where you're on a third attempt, please contact one of the advisors. We can help you out with maybe dropping a course or working with your faculty, getting you some tutoring. Once again, if you find yourself on a third attempt, it's pretty serious. You need to make sure and get a passing grade at that point. And then the next one and the last kind of policy we'll go over today is our 10-year currency of knowledge policy. This one sounds kind of crazy, but you basically have to graduate within 10 years of taking your first upper division business course. So as I mentioned before, you won't be taking any upper division business courses for probably about 2 years. So you basically have about 12 years to graduate from Sac State. Obviously, you're shooting for much less than that. Most students try to graduate in 4 to 6 years, but just know that that 12-year timer is pretty much starting right now. And it definitely starts when that 10-year timer starts when you take your first upper division business course. So I expect most of the students in the room to be done well before 12 years from now. But just keep in mind that timer starts as soon as you take your first upper division business course. All right. I had mentioned before that we're an impacted major. So what does that mean exactly? I said that we're one of about 7 or 8 majors on campus that is impacted. It basically means you have to apply to the major and you have to face some additional criteria before you can get it into the major. You do have to submit a supplemental business application. We do it twice a year. And once again, you have to have all 8 of those lower division classes done before you can actually apply to the business major. So once again, we're talking about 3 to 4 semesters from now. And then all applicants are rank ordered by overall GPA. That's the one thing that we look at other than having your prerequisites done is your overall GPA. And we'll go over what that means in just a minute. So application dates and processes. We do have 2 application periods per year. We have a spring application semester to get in for the following fall. You'd be applying in, you would be, if you're trying to get in for a spring semester, you would be applying the fall before, and you'd be applying in September, and you'll be notified mid-November if you got in or not. If you're applying for a fall semester, then you would be doing the application the previous spring semester in the month of February, and you would be notified by mid-April whether or not you got in. And then the minimum requirements are on the right-hand side. Good academic standing, at least 45 units earned on your way to 60 units, lower division complete. Once again, those 8 courses. And then the 4th bullet point is the most important. A lot of students stop reading after they see the 2.4, but that's the minimum to apply. That's not going to be high enough to get you in. You're actually going to need closer to a 3.0, 2.9 to 3.0 to be actually competitive. And here's a chart just kind of showing our past 6 years or so of our cutoffs each semester. You can see in the past year or so, year and a half, it's pretty much flatlined at 2.95, and that's based on your overall GPA. It has fluctuated in the past. We do expect it, we don't know for sure, but we expect it to be around a 2.95, 2.9 going forward. So that's kind of the minimum GPA that you want to shoot for to be competitive for the business major. And then just so you know, because it's kind of hard when we're just talking about grades, like what's a B, what's a C, what's an A. These are the corresponding grade points for each grade that you get. So if you look, a B minus is a 2.7 on the grading scale. So let's just say you get all B minuses in your classes. That would put you at a 2.7 overall GPA. That is unfortunately not going to be high enough to be competitive and get into the business major. You really need to be getting B average grades across all of your classes. You'll notice that a B is a 3.0 on the grading scale. So, that doesn't mean that you have to get all Bs in your classes. If you get a C in one class, that's okay. You would just want to offset it with an A in another class. You really want to shoot for that minimum 3.0. If you're above a 3.0, you're not guaranteed to get into the major, but your chances are like very, very, very high of getting in if you're at a 3.0 or higher. It's been our kind of, we've never gone above a 3.0 in the entire 10 years we've been impacted. So you really want to shoot minimum for a 3.0 overall GPA. So it's going to be a B average across all of your classes. So just kind of a handy chart to look at to see what each grade is in terms of the actual GPA. The next slide. So we have 5 minors that are available in the business major. And what we find is a lot of students start off as business majors, and then they take a couple classes, and then they're like, oh man, like this is not what I thought it was going to be, or I'm really not into these classes as much as I thought I would be. Maybe I should switch majors to something else. That's totally fine. Most students switch their majors like 2 to 3 times during their college career. I switched my major like 3 times before I actually settled on my final major. That's totally normal. But we do have minors. So if you do end up switching your major out of business, you definitely want to consider doing a business minor for a couple of reasons. If you do the general minor, you can use some of the classes that you've already taken, and they can go into the minor instead of being lost if you switch to a different major. We also have 4 specialized minors. So we have human resources, marketing, real estate, and risk management and insurance. So if you're interested in business, but you don't want to take all the random accounting core classes, math 24, Excel, all that, or business law, then you might want to consider one of our specialized minors. The human resources, marketing, and real estate do not have any prereqs. The risk management just requires MIS 10, which is Excel. And those minors are great because you just take the classes in that specific area. You don't have to take any of the other like random business courses with those specialized minors. So just keep in mind that we do have minors in business. If you feel like business is not working out for you as you kind of go through the classes, or if you end up switching to a different major, just know that we have business minors. But you do have to be a junior to declare a business minor. So you would have to wait until your junior year before you're eligible to declare it. But you can always have it in your mind that you will plan on declaring a business minor when you become a junior. All right, so upper division major core classes, these are on page 9. I'm not really going to spend too much time on these because these are at least a year and a half to 2 years away. But we have 8 upper division major core classes. These are all required regardless of your concentration. So all 8 of these classes have to be taken before you can graduate, and all of them except DS 101 require you to be a junior, and DS 101 does require you to be a sophomore. So once again, these classes are at least a year and a half to 2 years away. You won't really be taking these anytime soon. But once again, they're in your new student guidebook. They're on page 9. You can look at them in more detail on your own time. This next slide goes over all 10 of our concentrations. So your major, assuming you stick with business and you get into the major, will be business administration. That's what your degree is going to be in. But you do have to pick at least one concentration. We have 10 different ones to choose from, and you have to pick at least one. You can do more than one if you want, but we really recommend for most students just to stick to one concentration. And you can think of the concentration as like a sub area or like a specialization or a focus in a specific area within your business major degree. So once again, we have 10 options. We have accounting, business analytics, entrepreneurship, we have finance, general management, international business, human resources, and organizational behavior, MIS or management information systems, marketing, and supply chain management. So these are all of the options that you have when choosing your concentrations. Business analytics and supply chain management are 2 of our newer concentrations. They're new as of last year. And then finance has 4 options within the concentration. So you do have to choose kind of like an option within the finance concentration if that's the one that you go with. You've got general finance, you've got financial planning, you've got risk management and insurance, and real estate. And these start, I believe, on page 11 or 12 of your new student guidebook, and it goes into much more detail, shows you each class and title for each concentration. So you haven't even started yet. You do not need to pick your concentration right now. You technically don't need to pick your concentration until you apply to the business major. So you have plenty of time to kind of explore those options and see which one makes the most sense for you. One way to kind of reverse, maybe choose your concentration, is to look at our career possibilities. This is pages 24 to 25 in your new student guidebook. This is kind of like a reverse way to look up your concentration. You can start by looking at all the different options within like job categories for each concentration. You can see that in bold, we have all of our concentrations, and then underneath are sample jobs that you can do. So if you look through all of these different concentrations, keep an eye on which jobs look interesting to you, and then see which concentration it's under. If you're kind of confused about choosing your concentration, you might want to do it this way and see if you can kind of work backwards and see if you can find a concentration choice by looking at sample jobs that you can do with that concentration. But once again, this is something you can look at on your own, pages 24 to 25 of your guidebook. You may have heard this phrase, finish in 4. It means finish in 4 years. The university is really pushing hard for all incoming first-year students to finish in 4 years. That's great, but as advisors, we also know that we have a unique student body here at Sac State. We have a lot of older students. We have a lot of students with families. We have a lot of students who work full-time or work 30 hours a week. So we also realize as advisors that maybe it's not possible or not likely or not feasible to graduate within 4 years, and that's totally okay. You can be on the 5-year plan, you can be on the 6-year plan. As an advisor, my thing that I care most about is that you actually graduate with a decent GPA and you actually learn from the classes that you're taking. So just kind of a general way to approach this, if you're on the 4-year plan, you want to be averaging 15 units per semester, and that will get you done in 4 years. If you're on the 5-year plan, then you would be averaging 12 units per semester, and that would get you done in 5 years. And so 15 units per semester is 5 classes, 12 units per semester is 4 classes per semester. This does not take into account our winter classes or summer. So if you want to do only 4 classes per semester, but still graduate in 4 years, it's definitely possible. You would just have to take a winter or a couple summer classes each year to kind of keep you on track with that 15 units per semester average, or another way to think about it is 30 units per year. So it is still possible to graduate in 4 years and only take 4 classes per semester. You would just have to make up for that in summer or winter sessions. But once again, you know yourself best. If you're working a lot, if you have a lot of family obligations outside of the classroom, you may not want to shoot for the 4-year program. You may want to try to graduate in 5 years. Give yourself a little bit more time, give yourself a little bit more focus on your classes, and give yourself a better chance at higher grades. But once again, it's up to you on how fast you choose to go through your classes. The next thing is, talking about the fall 2021 semester, it's a really weird semester. We as in the College of Business and the university had to create the schedule back in early spring, late winter of earlier this year. So a lot of our classes are still online. But what we have are these course modalities. So your orientation leader will be going over this in more detail later today when you start talking about your schedule. But I just wanted to go over a couple of course modalities that you're going to find for business courses. So the first one's pretty easy. It's fully in person. It's just like any normal class. You show up, 2 to 3 times a week and take your class in a normal classroom. The next one is hybrid. So this one's a little weird. This one is where a class may meet so you may see 2 or 3 meeting times per week for a class, but you're really only expected to show up 1 day a week. And then the other days you're going to be doing online work. So if you see that you're enrolled in a hybrid class, just know that you're probably only going to need to show up in person 1 time per week. We don't have too many hybrid classes, but there are some out there. But the bulk of our classes are going to be either fully in person or online. And there's 2 versions of online classes. There's synchronous and asynchronous. So synchronous is on the left, and we have an example. So we have Music 18. That's a music appreciation. It's a GE that a ton of first years take. It's a pretty popular class. So this one is a synchronous class. Synchronous means that there's a time associated with the class. You'll see Tuesday, Thursday from 10:30 to 11:45, but the room will say web online. So it's a fully online class, but you will have to be available and basically be in a Zoom session during the times that it shows. So for example, with Music 18, you'd have to show up and be ready on a laptop in Zoom every Tuesday and Thursday from 10:30 to 11:45. You can be at home, you can be in the library, you can be in your car. It doesn't matter where you are. You just have to be like, attending the class during those times. The other type of online class is asynchronous, and that will say TBA for the days and times, and it will say web online for the room. These are completely online classes. There's no set meeting times. There's no set order of the class. You have a professor, but you'll just be kind of working on your own throughout the whole semester. Most of our classes that are online are going to be synchronous. Very few are asynchronous, especially the lower division ones. But you may come across an asynchronous class that might be a GE class or maybe even a business class. But for the most part, you're going to be looking at taking a mixture of in-person and online synchronous classes. So we just want you to be aware of the kind of two different models of the modalities for the online classes. All right, so let's move on. Setting yourself up for success. Like I said, the fall semester is going to be a weird one. For our business classes, most of them are online, but we do have some in-person classes. Really, organization and self-discipline are going to be key. You're going to have at least a couple online classes for the upcoming fall, and maybe even more than just a couple. So it's really important to have a good setup, self-discipline, have a planner, communicate and connect with your faculty. It's really important, especially with online classes. You're not going to see your faculty very often, and you may never see them in person if you have an online class. So it's really important to take advantage of their office hours, reach out to them if you're struggling in the class or if you need some extra help. They're there to help you. They do know that you are a first-year student. This is your first time in college. And typically our professors who are teaching the first-year classes have a little bit more leeway with helping you and making sure that you're successful in the class. Set up a system and routine, to manage your email. Your Sac State email is going to be the main way that we communicate with you, and not just us in the College of Business, but the entire university. I really would recommend setting up the Exchange account on your phone, whether you have an Android phone or an iOS device. Set it up as an Exchange account and put notifications on. So anytime you get an email from the university, you'll get a notification. That's really the best way for you to stay in contact with financial aid, with admissions, with your advisors, with any holds that come up on your account. That's really the best way to do that. And remember Zoom and email etiquette. Use your full name, know your student ID number, use complete sentences, be aware of your environment, just be professional. You're a college student now. I can't tell you how many times we get a student coming in with their Zoom ID. It's like their gamer tag or like, I don't know, their email address from like when they were, 12 and they set it up. So try to be as professional as you can on Zoom, and use your full name, use, your Sac State email address. All of that is good stuff for Zoom. And take advantage of our free peer tutoring. We are not the only office that offers tutoring. There's the Park Center. They offer tutoring in a lot of GE classes. We offer business class tutoring. So there's lots of tutors out there that are ready and willing to help you. I had mentioned before that we have this thing called BizList, and it's our email listserv. Maria will be posting in the chat a link to sign up for BizList. It's the easiest way for us to keep in contact with you. Also, feel free to either follow us on Instagram in addition to BizList, or if you don't want to deal with BizList right now, that's okay. I really recommend you sign up for it, but at least follow us on Instagram. There's a QR code on the screen right now. You can use that on your phone, and it will bring you to our Instagram page where you can follow us. We post a lot of different stuff about our events on Instagram. And BizList, we send out all of our announcements and events and giveaways and job and internship applications, or announcements and scholarship stuff. All that goes out on our BizList as well as our Instagram page. So I'll leave that up for just a couple more seconds if you want to grab that QR code. You can also just search for us on Instagram. COB Biz with a Z Students is our name. All right, so staying connected with us. The easiest way to get a hold of us is to email. So cba-ugrad@csus.edu. If you have any questions about the business major, we will respond to you very, very fast, within a couple hours, usually, if it's during business hours. You can also go to our website. We have summer Zoom drop-in hours from 1 to 4 p.m. every day, Monday through Friday. And our Zoom link is there. It's just OSE front desk. You can also use the directory. It's directory.csus.edu. And that is a great way for you to look up any faculty, any teacher, any staff member. It will have their phone number and email address and all their contact info. We are physically located in Tahoe Hall 1030 on campus. We also have a telephone number. Both of those are still closed. We're hoping to reopen next month. But stay tuned on that one. But once again, the easiest way to email or get a hold of us is to email us cba-ugrad@csus.edu. All right, we made it to the end. This is obviously the end result. We hope to see every student graduate in 4, 5, 6 years, however long it takes you. That's totally okay with us. So what I will do now is open it up for questions. You can type your question in the chat. You can use the raise hand feature. We have such a small group, you probably can just unmute yourself if you would like and just go ahead and verbally ask your question. Whatever is easiest for you. Looks like Giovanna, do you have an announcement or question?
Sorry, I just want to say something really quick before. And so I'm an orientation leader, and I just want to let everyone know, all the students know, that at 11, we will be having your first year experience advising session. That's when it will be taking place afterwards. So at 11:10, I did go ahead and put that in the chat. So just make sure to copy and paste that somewhere on your computer so you have that information once we do wrap it up. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any questions related to the business or the presentation? I know it's a lot of information. You're going to get so much information today from everybody. So we don't expect you to memorize really a lot of this, but we wanted to make sure you have the guidebook and you have our contact information. If you do have a question that pops up. Also, if there are any guests or parents in the room, you can feel free to ask any questions, or you can email us as well about any potential questions that you might have. Danielle, did you have a question?
So if we're not accepted into the program because of how impacted it is,
Mm-hmm.
we're able to join the lower undergrad business class.
Well, so your expressed interest right now, and that's all students are in that situation. If you get to a point in it, like 2 years from now, where you apply to the major and you don't get in, depending on the reason you don't get in, you could try reapplying to the business major the following semester. But if you didn't get in because of a low GPA, at that point, you would really need to choose a different major outside of business and maybe consider doing a minor in business. But once again, this is like 1.5 to 2 years away. It all depends on your grades and your classes from here on out, whether or not you're going to be, competitive for the business major. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions before we finish up? All right, we got a pretty small group today, so I'm not expecting too many questions. All right, so I am going to go ahead and wrap up. I'll let you guys go a little bit early. You'll have a little quick break here, and then at 11:10, make sure you have that link saved in the chat from Giovanna, the orientation leader, and that will be your next event that you will be going to. So thank you all for coming. welcome to Sac State. Welcome to the College of Business. And once again, if you have any questions, let us know. You've got our email address. And we also have drop-in advising Monday through Friday, 1 to 4 through Zoom throughout the rest of the summer. So good luck today and welcome to Sac State. Thank you for coming.